What's up, guys? B Green Flex here, voice of Flex, back with video number 3. I told y'all I'm gonna try and upload every day, no matter what's going on. So I'm living up to it. Um, this one's gonna be a little not different, but a lot shorter compared to the other two. I'm like noticing that the last couple videos and the videos that I'm choosing to react to are very long, and then of course with my reactions built into them, I'm like, man, you want to have a good, watch time and stuff like that for the algorithms and shit. So it might be better to try to do one a little bit shorter. So today we're with just Pearly Clips, I guess is the channel. But once you see the other chick, you'll probably recognize her from TikTok or some YouTube shorts or whatever. But kind of a red pill talk show. But there's a chick on there that's kind of red pilled, and a lot of the things she talks about and the responses that she gives for the women that they invite on, or even the men too. So this one is Blondie Gets Red Pilled, and I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't finish it because I did want to react to it. So let's see what we got.
Do you think men cheat as bad?
Not as bad, because men are sloppy.
Yeah,
Like, if your man's cheating, you probably
cheat
know.
as bad.
Deep down, you probably know that he's cheating.
Yeah.
Like, women
Yeah.
always have a hunch.
Exactly. I would agree to that.
Yeah, it's kind of true. I mean, for the most part, when women cheat, like they're very methodical, meticulous, like they pay attention to every single detail and make it so they're not really gonna get caught. Or if they do, it's something that it's explainable to a certain extent. Whereas dudes, like, it's just kind of like whatever. We want to fuck something, we're gonna do it.
But, yeah.
Would you guys be willing to share a guy if he had everything you wanted, he loved you, but just now and then he would step out?
Sister wives.
Look at.
It's contemplating. I mean, we all know the answer to this, or we all know what the answer should be to this, but let's see.
Me and Jess are on a 2-for-1 special.
Get it while you can.
Yeah, sister wives.
Would you actually do that?
No.
100% not.
No.
Nah.
You might?
I might.
Okay, why? Tell me why.
I think monogamy is very hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think long term.
Man and women? Or so, are you talking open relationship, or are you talking about on his end?
Mm,
Important question he just asked.
it would have to be both.
Oh, it'd have to be an
Oh,
open
then-
It would have to be
relationship.
both, yeah. It would have to be.
So
Could you
would-
still love? Sorry to cut you.
Go,
Pearl.
go,
I was gonna say, could you still? Because a man, we've had the conversation before. A man can love a woman and throw his willy around and fall into reality from time to time.
Mhm.
But a lot of women, they can't do that. So could you say that you can still love the guy you're with and still be open in a relationship?
Important point as well. Like we've observed in the other videos and just in general with all the stuff, going on, the other creators and just how men really feel. Like we can love someone with all our heart and then but have sex with someone else and it not have any attachment to how we feel about the person that we love or the relationship or anything like that. Whereas women usually, because it's for men, for sex is a biological instinct because we want to spread our seed and reproduce and continue our bloodline. Whereas for women, it's you're holding the kid and nurturing it, so you want something more serious, something more emotional with somebody that can provide a lot more. So usually for a woman to make the choice to do that, it's a lot more that goes into it than just physical attraction.
In my mind, I think after a certain amount of years, 5, 10, maybe 20 years, yes. In the beginning, early phases, I don't think I could because that possessive need to claim is there. But I think eventually, I imagine, this is what I imagine, after time, I probably could. I would probably be a bit bored. I imagine he would too.
Would you be willing to do it where it's open on his end but not yours?
This is the chick I said y'all might recognize from TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever. Because like with all the shit going on in the on those apps as far as like the new red pill wave or whatever, she's kind of been popping up because she does agree in a lot of that sense.
No.
I feel like that's what the terms would usually be if he's providing and stuff like that.
Yeah, if he's providing, okay.
So if he's
So
taking,
then,
How many relationships are like just the man providing?
no,
like
but this
really
is
now.
isn't that the scenario you presented?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So-
If he's providing, well then yeah, I'd probably have to put up with it. But
yeah, you're like, see no evil, hear no evil.
See, as soon as, because and this is another issue, she listened to the question, but she didn't, or she heard the question, she didn't actually listen to it. So she didn't actually digest what she was asking and how she was asking it in the manner that she was. So when she was responding, she was just responding to respond. She wasn't actually articulating her answer based on the actual question itself. So once he clarified, like, okay, no, like, she said as if the man was providing and being that person for you, would it be okay? And then of course she said, oh yeah, like of course, because it's in in a woman's nature to like want to be provided for and protected, and in doing that they know that the man that they is providing for them and protecting them is usually going to have other women, because that's the man that all the women want.
As long as he pays the
As long
bills.
as you around when I need you.
just brush your teeth when you get in.
Yeah.
Well, because 8,000, fun fact, 8,000 years ago, 17 women reproduced for every one man. Yeah, so we can't do.
That's a weird fact. Like, how are we really supposed to know that? But I wouldn't be surprised, because it's been like there's been a lot of like random facts like that in the same kind of sense, where you got to think 8,000 years ago, when it was literally like they probably weren't cavemen at that time, but they were literally fighting for survival. It was, you know, all these different groups of people had slaves, had sexual slaves, were trying to explore the world and all this kind of stuff. There wasn't any real language or organization of religion and all this other stuff. So at that time, it was strictly based on population and biological instinct. So they were probably thinking, all those women, that 17-to-1 ratio she just talked about, were probably like, okay, this dude is, you know, masculine, he's taller, he's more structured physically, he has some type of, you know, power about him than he when he carries himself. And in that sense, they probably, you know, he probably was the dude that was beating up all the other dudes or whatever in the tribe and all this kind of stuff. So to them, or maybe like owned all the land in that tribe or whatever. So to them, that was the guy that they wanted to have kids with. They didn't want to have kids with a freaking farmer dude that was just weak and, you know, was just go along with everything that the leader of the tribe would do. They wanted to have kids with the leader, with the alpha.
Biology.
Wait, I need to work that.
8,000 years ago, 17 women reproduced for every one man.
That's a football team and a sub.
Wow.
The man didn't want to go back in time
That's a
now.
fact.
But now, with the population getting so out of control, surely it would make sense to reverse that.
No, so actually, there's probably going to be problems in society because of population decline. Actually, people aren't
Really?
having kids
Why?
because, okay, think about it. If you don't have enough people in the next generation to fill jobs,
Mm-hmm.
then that leaves a gap in society.
What jobs are not being filled?
Well, right now, I want to say the medical industry is low on like
Okay.
doctors, and I don't know specifically. I just know
Oh,
that
shit,
one of the
oh, there
biggest
it
like,
goes.
causes of civilizations like collapsing is a population decline.
Mhm.
And that's
When you
happening
think
now.
about like overpopulation is good for an economy.
Yeah, when you
Mhm.
look at
Mhm.
Japan, because they've got an aging population, they've got to a point of, because they've got less young staff coming into work, they've got state-funded fueled pensions, but there's so many pensioners and there's not enough workforce.
Oh, okay.
So you've just got a lot of people living on the state and not enough people paying
Yeah.
into the state.
He's using the example of Japan, which is a good example in the context they're describing it. But just in general, whenever you get to a point, I'm sure it's happened in history, but think about if you get to a point where there's not enough youth, male, female, whatever the case may be, youth coming up and developing skills, and then in turn having their own children and teaching their children about their skills and what they can do and stuff like that. Eventually it gets to a point where the old people are dying off, the people are aging and dying off, but the youth aren't coming up. There's no babies being had, there's no youth coming up. So there's like this stagnation in population, and it causes shit to fall through.
So why are young people not going into the workplace? What is that?
No, it's just
They
people
don't
aren't having,
exist.
having kids anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are they not having kids? They can't afford it. They don't.
So I would say it's because of hypergamy. Do you know what hypergamy is?
No.
So hypergamy is the action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with a person of a superior sociological or educational background. Women date across and up hierarchies.
Mhm.
So essentially, when birth control was introduced, it gave women the option to sleep around.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happened, basically a smaller and smaller percentage of men were sleeping with all the girls. So if you ask
Yep.
100% of women what they want in a guy, they list 20% of men, sometimes less. So if you want a guy that's over 6 foot, that's only 15% of guys.
Okay.
You want him to be good looking, cut it in half. You
Yep.
want him to make money, cut that in half,
Yep.
right? So basically, when that happened, I think it let 4s, 5s, and 6s in terms of like looks sleep with guys that are 8s, 9s, and 10s and think they're on that level, and then think anything below it is settling.
Hmm. She makes a very valid point with that, because if you've noticed in the modern dating world, all the chicks, or even go on Tinder, go on Bumble, you know, any of these dating apps, it's like if you're not at least 6 foot, swipe left, or you know, as soon as you start talking to them, the first thing is, what do you do for a living? Or, you know, what's your job? How much money do you make? Where are we going for our first date? It has to be somewhere nice. Or they send you a place that they want to go, and it's like the fucking most expensive restaurant in town or whatever. And the reason being is because with social media, with Instagram, with Twitter, with TikTok, all these other things, women that are not really like the top tier women as far as looks and stature and status and all this other stuff are getting the attention from everybody. So it makes them feel as if, okay, really they're a 5, but they're getting the attention as if they're a 10. And because of filters and because of how you can even dress it up even more, they're perceived as a 10. So then when they go out into the dating world, they're like, oh, I'm not going to date a dude that's just okay looking or makes a decent amount of money. No, I want to marry the rich dude. I want to marry the tall dude. I want to marry the fit dude. And it's like, well, by definition, these guys are only a small percentage of the population, a few percent maybe. So if 80% of the women, a majority of the women, even if you go 51%, just majority, are trying to get 5% of the men, all those same men are going to just continue sleeping with all the women. And then the other 95% of men are just overlooked, overturned, never get replied to, never get responded to, get curved at the club or even in the grocery store, all this other stuff, because they don't measure up to all these other limitations that the girls are already setting in place before they even give you a chance to try with them. And it's ridiculous. And that's exactly why people aren't having kids. That's exactly why, you know, all the things are happening, or at least in the Western world, why all the things are happening that they are, because it's, oh, men are trash, men are trash. It's like, no, it's the few percent of men that you're dealing with are trash. And the thing is not even that they're trash, it's just that they understand their place in society, so they're going to take advantage of that and explore their options, not settle for you, who's a 5 and is a bimbo and all she does is bitch to him. No, he's going to explore his options.
Okay. So as women's rights and freedom have progressed, relationships have regressed.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we need to either.
I mean, it makes sense, because you think if they have more capabilities as far as the workforce, what they can do with schooling, what they're allowed to do outside of the home, it makes sense that everything else will regress, because the women biologically are supposed to be the nurturers. The men are supposed to be the providers and protectors. The women are supposed to be the nurturers, educators, which is why women usually end up in jobs that involve children, involve education. Like they usually want to be teachers or social workers and stuff like that, and which is why they make less, because they choose these jobs that are a lot safer and don't have as much of a network of revenue and stuff like that. Whereas the men are the ones taking the jobs like construction and, you know, underwater freaking piping and freaking, you know, pilots and all these other things that actually involve some type of danger. And but the thing is that when you allow the women to get out of the household like that, which is nothing wrong with that, but it naturally in turn makes it so that they then see themselves much more than they actually are, because of everything exposed around them, and in turn makes it so that I don't know. I lost myself.
Step down. How do we get out of this?
Everyone needs to start having children.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's just like we're just in a society where a lot of women are delusional.
Okay.
Or because what's your level, right? Anyone's like level 1 to 10. It's what you can get to commit to you. It's not what you can sleep with. And I think a lot of times women like confuse the two, and so they'll shit on average men. Like that's why we have in society we have. I don't want no scrub. Like, but we don't have.
I mean, she's making a point though. You got to think, like I mentioned before, like they have this. It's 666, 6 feet, 6 figures. I forgot what the last one is, but generally speaking, we've all seen it. It's like unless you meet up to these requirements, you don't even get a chance at the fucking bat. You don't even get to swing. Like they don't even give you a shot to get their number, to take them on a date, whatever the case may be. So it's the divide is getting a lot further. The men that are these things that do fit this mold are getting a lot more of the women because of the exaggeration of social media and dating apps and you know, marketing and all these other things. And then the men that aren't up to these qualities or don't live up to these things that women set in place for them, they're getting even farther down the list, and then it's exaggerated even more because of prawn, because of fans only, because of Twitter, Instagram. They're able to now satisfy their sexual need with all of these other avenues outside of actual sex. So the divide is getting much, much larger, and it's a dangerous space we're getting to. Once it reaches a certain point, there's only one way we can go. So I don't know.
I don't want no whales. I don't want no fat chicks. Like they would be canceled immediately.
What's going on, guys? Look at that. Well, there you go.
Do you
I
think,
think
men?
I think that was a pretty good one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts below. As usual, drop a subscription, drop a like. Feel free to follow on TikTok at Voice of Flex. It's the same as my channel. But yeah, that was a very interesting one. Like I said, I wanted it to be shorter because I want the watch time to go up, and I feel like when videos are a lot longer, it's less likely to get clicked on. But either way, it's very important. Every topic is important, especially stuff like this. Like I said, the divide is getting very large, and we need to, at least in the West, we need some things in place, and we need to start as men trying to take control of our own lives and realizing that, you know what, no, I'm not going to succumb to all these other outstanding forces around me. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to keep progressing, and in turn build my own masculinity and confidence back up. Everything else will fall into place. Anyway, hope you guys have a good weekend. It's Saturday night where I'm at. And like I said, subscribe, like, comment, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.